Hey, everybody. Greg Harrelson here with my co-pilot Abe Safa, of course, coming at you once again on a Tuesday on the Facebook page of Real Geeks, the mastermind page, where we bring as much valuable content, coaching content as we can to you, in hopes that all of us can grow together within the Real Geeks ecosystem. So, Abe, thank you again for joining me.
Hey, Greg, my pleasure.
Yeah. Now, let's just get right into it, man. So I think you got the title right there for us, the 5 traits of a great buyer's agent. Before we get started, one thing that I can say about buyer's agents and I said this in our company coaching call just about 15 minutes ago, and that is the the skills buyer's agents had to really develop some good skills in the area of negotiations with their buyers in order to convince buyers to pay full price and over full price over the last couple of years. And, we start thinking about the 5 traits of a great buyer's agent. And I just want to for those of you that have worked with a lot of buyers, we acknowledge what you've been through and the difficulties navigating through appraisal issues and whatnot. And I think all of those tough situations have actually really leveled up the skill sets of the buyer's agent. So that was just one of the things. Now, on the flip side, the listing agents, they haven't had to negotiate. Buyers have had to negotiate. Buyer agents have had to negotiate, but the negotiation was trying to convince their buyer to make an over full price offer. So, listing agents haven't had to negotiate for the last couple of years. So there's going to be a lot of coaching coming up on how listing agents need to actually get back into the game of real negotiations, because I look at it as listing agents. It was kind of like they walked up to a buffet and they had a lot of great choices and they just say, seller, I think you should have the chicken. It's really good. Like, chicken? Oh, I love chicken. Okay, let's do that. I mean, they had chicken, ribs, steak. They had like so many great options when it comes to offers. There wasn't a lot of negotiations. It was a selection process. Not a lot of back and forth having to convince somebody to do something that they didn't want to do or they didn't think to do. So it's going to be interesting times moving forward as the market shifts. But let's talk about the 5 traits. Why don't you go ahead and get started, and I'll follow your lead, Abe.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The first one I think is they have to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
I think that is so important, because I think it's especially with I guess both sides, really, buyers and seller sides. You can get sucked up into spending so much time with a particular buyer. So I think asking the right questions is so important, especially right now in this market. I think the most important question to ask is, how long do you plan on being or living in the home that you're about to buy? Mm-hmm. Right? Because the biggest objection you're going to get right now is, oh, I'm going to wait, right? Because interest rates are too high. I'm going to wait till they go down. I'm going to wait for prices to go down. So those are going to be the 2 biggest objections you're going to be getting right now here in the near future. So I think it's important to get back to the basics and say, okay, well, look, how long do you plan on being in this home? Right? If it's going to be, and most people, if it's their primary home, they're going to be there a long time. Does it really matter? Right? If they're going to be there 10, right, 15 years, okay, if you look at the historical prices of homes, they're going to go up regardless of where they are at the present moment. Now, yes, if they're going to be moving out in a year or 2 years, then they're really not buying, they're renting. They just want something temporary. So I think it's really important, if you want to be able to have good conversations with buyers here in the near future, is to get into the conversation of how long they're going to be there, so you can actually be able to help them.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I think a lot of times even agents themselves, they kind of they feel conflicted, like, well, the market's softening now. How am I going to tell a buyer that they should move forward? And the key is to understand, when we use terms like the market is softening, it's temporary. It's like interest rates are at records low. That was temporary. That was only for like 2 years. So like you see a lot of, like, when something occurs, a shift, there's always a counterbalance. It always shifts back and forth, back and forth. So what we've got to make sure, like you said, ask them how long are they thinking? I'm just kind of curious. How long do you think that you'll own your next home? Oh, at least 10 to 15 years. That's what they're going to say. Very few of them are going to say, well, just a year. If it's somebody that's just a year, that's almost a speculative type investment type of purchase. So maybe the current market conditions matter. But if they say, or when they say 10, 15 years, then what's happening today is so insignificant because the market's going to be up, down, up, down, up, down in 10 to 15 years. It's just not going to make a difference over time.
Yeah, even the interest rates, Greg. I mean, so if they think that interest
Yeah.
rates are going to go down, big deal. You can refinance,
Mhm.
right? No one says that you have to be locked in at that interest rate for the rest of your life. So once they go down, which they most likely will, if we go into a recession, they're probably going to go up a little bit more. But then if we go into a recession, chances are they're going to go back down. And you can refinance.
Mhm.
But what you're not going to do is you're not going to get a second shot at that ideal home that you've been looking for. So
Yeah.
if you see it, you got to jump on it.
Yeah. And a lot of people are thinking the prices are going to continue to go up. So if the interest rate does go down a little bit, but the price does go up a little bit, it's still a moot point.
Right.
It's a moot point. But there's other questions, right? Like, how soon are you looking to purchase? Is this a primary or is it an investment? Working with a lender. I think just in general, a trait of a great buyer's agent is they ask a lot of questions and they listen and they make few statements.
Right.
Got it. Another one is managing their time efficiently. Managing time efficiently. In management, and we're managing time efficiently in the area of working with buyers. A lot of that has to do with how they're prioritizing their database and their lead flow.
Mm-hmm.
There's a funnel, right? There's the funnel, and the funnel has people. The funnel's like this. There's a lot of people. The opening at top is way bigger than the opening at the bottom, which means there's a lot of buyers at the top of the funnel. There's many, many buyers in the middle of the funnel. And then there's less buyers at the bottom of the funnel. That's how that works. It's not, and this is not market specific or even economy specific. That's always the case. There's more people at the top of the funnel than there is at the bottom of the funnel. The question becomes, do you know where in the funnel your buyer is? And the challenge is a lot of us will get to the office and we'll start calling our database, calling our buyers, and we're calling all the buyers, where we should have made sure that we worked from the bottom of the funnel up, not top of the funnel down, work bottom of the funnel up. So you got to make sure that you're going to have them tagged properly. Then, of course, another way of managing time efficiently is getting the buyers to move forward. A lot of times, coaches talk about creating urgency, and that would be the proper probably way to say it. But I think a lot of agents here creating urgency. I think a lot of agents start to think of what slimy sales tactic do I need to use to trick them into believing that they need to do something, like manufacturing urgency at some level like that. Okay, so that's not what we mean, but asking, I tell agents, when you walk into a home and before you leave that home, you need to ask every buyer, hey, Abe, I'm just kind of curious, is this the home that you see you owning? Is this a home you want to move your family into? Is this the home that you see yourself living in? Is this the home that you feel fits all the criteria? And if they say no, no big deal. But shockingly, sometimes you'll ask them and they'll say yes. And that one question and answer, series of question and answer, will help you move the ball forward.
Yeah, and even if they say no, Greg, that's an opportunity to really get in tune with what they're looking for. So you get a clear idea what they want, they get a clear idea what they want, and it just moves you closer to the target. So I mean, efficient time when it comes to buyer's agents, I think this is a double-edged sword, because the one area that takes up your most amount of time is when you're in a car and when you're out showing property.
Yes.
But then also that's the time that you want buyer's agent spending, because that's where the money is. If you're not showing property, you're not making sales. So I think this is critical. So for you to really, you mentioned the bottom of the funnel, you've got to be really in tune with which buyers are you going to spend your time with. Okay, which buyers are you going to get in a car with? Which buyers are you going to meet and show property to, and which ones are not quite ready yet? So I think this is an area where it really takes a little bit of skill,
yeah,
to determine.
Yeah, and just monitoring website activity. If you're working
Mhm.
with a buy, like I was talking with one of the agents this morning who was I had given him a lead because I was out, and I'd be darned, like he's sitting here talking to me about the progress of this one lead, and then I look in my email, and 30 minutes prior to us talking, I see that they actually looked at a home bot report, that same exact lead that he's about ready to set an appointment with. So you see how, like, there the point is you've got to monitor the activity within your CRM.
Mhm.
If they're looking at market activity reports, you got to understand they are taking time away from something else to pay attention to your market activity report. That means something. They're investing time in that report. That means they're likely interested in doing something, or at least they'll be open to a conversation. So if you want to be more efficient, make sure that you're letting those identifiers actually create or cause you to get into action, instead of just randomly showing up and just like, okay, I'll just start making these calls. Do it with some more intention.
Okay. The next one is they make their calls. This is a big one. Like there's no hesitation, there's no thought, there's no judgment when a lead comes in, right? Lead comes in, you pick up the phone, you make the call. So speed is really important. Speed to lead, we've heard that for years. And then frequency, the number of attempts you make to reach that person is also really important. You know, it's 7+ attempts. We've all heard the studies. It
Yes.
takes 7+ attempts to get someone to respond. So the better buyers agents, the higher producing buyers agents, don't waste any time with this one area. Like lead
Mm-hmm.
comes in, automatically call it, double dial text, make a couple of more attempts, put it in a workflow, and then what you see is they're focusing on their capture to contact ratio. Their capture to contact ratio is going to be much higher than the average agent. You know,
Yeah.
it should be over 65, 70% for everybody across the board if you just follow a couple of simple strategies in doing that.
Yeah. Got it. Um, uh, I think it goes without saying, a trait, at least the buyer's agents that I see doing a high level of business. And what is a high level of business? Just say 50 to 100 transactions,
Mhm.
predominantly all buyers. Um, One thing that I see within those agents is they know the market. I could go to them right now and I could say, I'm in Myrtle Beach. I'm thinking about the Myrtle Beach market. Of course, we're in Charleston and Wilmington, North Carolina, as well as Columbia, South Carolina. So, but I'm thinking of Myrtle Beach. I know I could walk up to the agent, some of those buyers agents, and say, hey, I've got a client that has a dog. Which oceanfront buildings allow pets? And they'll be like, oh, I got a list. Here, I'll email it to you. Or, hey, I need a community that has no HOA. Oh, that's going to be this, this, and this. Or if my buyer can only afford this, what are their options? It's like they don't necessarily have to go into the MLS to have a general idea of what the options would be. They may not be able to give me the address, but they could give me the communities, the sections of town, and things like that. So they just know the market, very knowledgeable, not only about the lay of the land, but also the condition of the market. Like, is inventory increasing? Is it decreasing? What's going on with days on market, multiple offers, things like that? The reason why you want to know that information is because when you're talking to a consumer, a buyer, and you're able to give them that information, what you don't understand, what you're really giving them is peace, trust, and certainty. You're making them more confident in doing a transaction with you because they know that you know what they don't know. So you've got to know the market. Got to be able to have financial conversations. Um, you don't want to probably give too many opinions on the economy. My opinion is you probably don't want to give a lot of opinions on it, but you surely need to know what's going on in the economy so you're prepared to discuss it if need be, because you can bet your bottom dollar they know what's going on in the economy. That's for certain.
Yeah, you can't afford to tell them, let me find out and I'll get back to you. Right. It's so hard to get them on the phone.
God,
You've got
so
them on
good.
their phone. You've got their attention. Know the information. right? Know your market, study your market. You know, while you have, because they're not gonna stick around. They're
Yeah, now,
calling the
yeah,
next agent. Yeah.
that's a good point, Abe. Like if I ask you, hey, how's the market? Let me find out and I'll get back with you. That's totally different than me saying, hey, what is the HOA fee? Does it include the water and sewer? That would be acceptable. Let me find out. I believe it does. I want to confirm it. But so let me find out. I'll get back with you. There are times to do that, but not when, hey, what do you think about the market?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. All right.
All
And
right.
the last one is they're always improving and growing, Greg. So this is the one area where they're just never satisfied with the position they're in as far as knowledge. They always want to get better. They're always learning, always going to seminars, always listen to podcasts, reading books, and be willing to adjust their conversation. Like, I think that's one of the most important things right now, because as the market changes, the conversation changes. You've got different objections coming at you. You've got buyers asking different things. You know, so being able to adjust your conversation depending on where the market is and what the buyers out there want, I think is really important. You see that a lot more with top producing agents, and they're not scared of coaching.
Yeah.
They're very coachable. They're willing to have a coach, and you see that the higher producing ones, almost every one of them has a coach out there nowadays.
Yeah, you got to get more engaged. I mean, especially right now. I mean, look, anybody. I mean, most agents have had some incredible years, and if we're all being kind of humble and honest with each other, you know, a lot of it was fueled by the market. That's not to take away that some of us have, and some of you all listening, have grown and improved your skills. As I said earlier on this call or on this recording, you know, the buyer's agents have really had to make adjustments in the last couple of years. Now it's going to be the listing agents going to have to make some adjustments, but for the most part, the market itself influenced a lot of the growth. And when we go into a shifting market, or we're in a shifting market, when we're navigating through a shifting market, it's important that you get closer to coaches or seminars or audiobooks, blogs, whatever it is. You've got to really commit to learning and being around the right environment, because there's going to be news in each one of our local markets that's going to be discouraging. It's likely that's going to be the case. And so the more you're around a positive coaching like environment, the more likely you're going to be able to continue to grow, even though there's some challenging times. Good. So there we go. So what we got, just a little bit of recap here. Ask the right questions. They manage their time efficiently. They show up and make their calls. Of course, I don't think we mentioned it, but we definitely need to mention it, meaning they use automation to help them, send text, send emails. So they're able to make a volume amount of contacts, whether it be calls, emails, or text, throughout their database. They're working their CRM, trying to connect to every single one of them as frequently as possible. You got to know the market and get involved with coaching at some level. Matter of fact, if you want to, get involved with us at Real Estate Sales Mastery, where we do a deeper dive on the Real Geeks the Real Geeks platform. What did I say? Real Sales Mastery? I didn't do that. Real Geeks Mastery. I don't know what I was thinking there. I was thinking of Real Estate Sales Solutions, I guess, but Real Geeks Mastery. Get involved with us and let Abe and I help you all do a deeper dive in in the technology, as well as some other coaching content and help you grow your business. Anything else, Abe?
No, that's it.
Okay. Well, then that's a wrap. Bye, everybody. If you have anything, any comments, chat, anything to any additional input, please put it in the comment section, and we will check back and look at it every once in a while and answer any of your questions that you might have. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Thank you.